Hey guys, welcome back. We're doing not a word today. We are going to talk about something called compassion fatigue. I didn't know this was a thing actually until I took what class was it? It was a class I took with All Faiths Church about dealing with kids that are recovering from trauma. And in that class, they were talking more or less about how routines and rituals can restore a child's sense of safety. And as it turns out, that will actually work for adults, for those of you who needed to know that. But it was in that class that they were discussing compassion fatigue. And what I was actually shocked to find out is that compassion fatigue, one of the first symptoms that you have this is that you constantly lose things, like setting something down, your keys. For me, it's my vape. Any number of things. Like if you just tend to lose things a lot throughout the day, chances are you are suffering from compassion fatigue. Other warning signs of compassion fatigue are feelings of helplessness and powerlessness in the face of suffering, reduced feeling of empathy and sensitivity, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by work demands, feeling detached, numb, and emotionally disconnected, loss of interest in activities that you used to enjoy. So it can come across as if you are, to another person, I guess, it'll come across as if you are irritated, overwhelmed, and not yourself. And you might hear things like, are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you tired? Right? Because everybody thinks those are the first three things when people get kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? When they get kind of ornery, I guess, if you will. So if you are empathic or you tend to show a lot of compassion and you have neglected your own self-care, and if you guys have not, if you're new to the channel, I might actually be displaying this compassion fatigue this evening, guys. If you are not new to my channel, then you know that I promote self-care as the number one priority. If we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't fill our own cup up, and if we are not mindful of that, then we give away our energy and then we get depleted, and which can manifest as compassion fatigue. It was actually kind of liberating, I guess. I don't know if I want to say liberating or if it was just a big sigh of relief to know that this was a real thing, that I wasn't, I don't know, like bipolar or something, because I could be so compassionate, and understanding and patient and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, after a few days of running around and not really following my own routines, or, if things get a little chaotic, I guess, and not through anybody's fault, just a victim of circumstance, if you will, then when you've reached that point of exhaustion and you really haven't done anything to justify being that tired, but you have that mental exhaustion, it can be challenging to deal with those kind of feelings and that kind of, I don't want to say attitude, because it's really not an attitude. It's just a state of emotion, maybe, I guess. But it's a thing. I guess bottom line, it's a thing. So compassion fatigue it can come in 5 stages. Okay. I know, I'm sorry, I'm all over the map a little bit tonight, guys, but if nothing else, I'm kind of showing you how you can be a little scatterbrained when you have this, right? It is emotional exhaustion. There's a reduced sense of personal accomplishment or meaning in your work. Mental exhaustion, decreased interactions with others when you want to isolate, when you're like, I just need to be alone for a while, right? Depersonalization, symptoms disconnected from real causes. And physical exhaustion, So in my example tonight, like the last 3 days have been what I would consider chaotic and busy. Probably most people wouldn't. But when you're used to being completely alone and doing things in your own time and not really having that much to do, and then you add in another dynamic of work and or responsibilities, and you're balance. Now you're trying to find that balance, right? So you're trying to maintain your own structure, but then add in another person or animal, or I have 3 dogs, as you guys know. You hear them all the time, and it can be a challenge to balance all those things. Everybody's got to acclimate and train themselves to the energy of others around them, and it's not that people are trying to do that to you guys, right? So it's literally trying to make the best of things, right? So you're trying to be polite, you're trying to be accommodating, without feeling selfish or without feeling like you're being, it's all my way or the highway. And when you're not used to doing that, it can be exhausting. So some ways you can prevent compassion fatigue is to take time for yourself, obviously. I mean, that's the first and foremost, right? Identify what's important to you and live in a way that reflects it. So if you have a routine that you normally stick to, then I wouldn't veer off of that for very long. We can't always stick to our routines all the time. And that's okay. We're not really meant to. It's kind of our safety zone. For those of us that, or those of you that have an issue with safety, then one of the quickest, easiest ways to restore that feeling of safe environment is to have a routine and a ritual. And the difference between a routine and a ritual literally is a routine is something that you do the same every day, right? Like you brush your teeth when you wake up, brush your teeth before you go to bed. You go to bed at a certain time, get up at a certain time, and that's your routine. A ritual would be to add an action outside of the common action to that. So, for example, with our kids, like when we, they might go to bed every night at 8 o'clock when they're little. And that would be a routine. But when you put them to bed and you read them a story, that makes it a ritual. So adding that level of human interaction can take a routine and turn it into a ritual. And those are the kind of things that can restore our feeling of safety. So when you do have this compassion fatigue, my suggestion would be, first thing, get back in your routine. Get back to doing the things that make you feel safe. And I kind of have this picture of the movie Rain Man in my head, but I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody. I'm literally thinking of myself right now, you guys. So please, seriously, don't get offended by that. But it's a level of burnout, right? And it's you have to get back and start filling back your own energy back up. And when you do things for yourself that make you happy on a daily basis, then those are the things that you want to get back to, right? Another way is to, oh, that didn't work out. Oh, I guess there's another name for compassion fatigue. It's also called vicarious trauma. It refers to the negative emotions that individuals feel from helping others at work. I don't think, at least that's not what I'm talking about, but that's also a thing, right? So if you guys go to a job and you're kind of the go-to guy and you help everybody else get their job done and then you end up having to stay late to do your job, that would definitely, for sure, create some compassion fatigue in that area. Another way that you could get compassion fatigue, single parents get compassion fatigue a lot because, you got to make sure them kids are on the school bus on time, that they're fed, that they're, in bed, that they've bathed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. How much time do you have for yourself for that, right? My daughter's actually really good at mitigating this. She's a single mom and she's got a 4 and a 5-year-old, and she has every weekend off, right? She has a custody agreement with her ex-husband and their family, and so she gives herself that Saturday. They're gone from Friday night till Sunday morning. She has a Saturday every week for herself. And some people look down on that. Some people think that that's not that she's not working, she should be with her kids. And that's how my generation was raised, right? I mean, I never took time for myself unless I was working, and I probably used my job as a way to get away, and to mitigate that. But my daughter made a comment to me early on. She said, if I'm not okay, then the kids aren't okay. I need that time for me. And I thought that was brilliant. That was clearly divinely injected into her, because I didn't teach her that. But she learned it, and it works. It works really well for her. She's a good mom. And so this says, I'm just looking up things that have to do with compassion fatigue while we're chatting here, because I'm not really super educated on it. I had heard it was a thing. I know it's a thing. I was relieved to know that one of the symptoms was losing things, because I really thought I was losing my mind there for a while. It was like I couldn't set something down without forgetting where the heck I put it. And when you don't know what's causing that, you just, well, at my age, I don't know, you guys start thinking that things are starting to break upstairs, if you will. So you get a little nervous about it. But to know that it's literally a symptom of compassion fatigue, it was like, thank God I'm not losing my mind, right? Anyway, I know I'm all over the map. Result of compassion fatigue. So self-awareness to determine how well you engage in awareness, balance, and connection of mitigating compassion fatigue. You can mitigate it, be aware, find your balance, and connect to source, connect to God, source, creator, spirit, whichever you want to call it. Meditate. I'm not a big meditator. I don't, you're not going to find me sitting on the floor with, my hands like this on my knees. That's not for me. I can't do it. But what you might find me doing is maybe doing a little spring cleaning, or maybe I will focus on something on the computer. The computer seems to calm me. I was a software developer for almost 30 years. So it's something I know that it's like I can control it, right? I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, Pay It Forward. There's one part of that movie where Kevin Spacey is talking to Helen Hunt. He's breaking up with her, I think, at one point, and or says something, or blew her off for a date. Anyway, she was trying to convince him to come in, I think, to her apartment to spend the night or something like that. And he said no. And she was like, well, I can't reject you because you've done it for me, right? And he makes this big, long, like 3-minute speech about how he has his routines, and it keeps him, he can count on those, and those are things he can control, and he can't control everybody around him. And it's later revealed in the movie that he was a victim of arson. His stepfather had lit him on fire, literally. So, I mean, I can't even imagine the level of trauma that would induce, but it was those routines and the rituals that he had put in place that gave him a sense of safety. And when those were threatened, he felt unsafe, and there's going to be times that you do have to step out of your comfort zone, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you may not feel 100% safe, but that's a different topic and a different video. I guess the point being with that little speech that he made is, when you do get that compassion fatigue, when you do feel overwhelmed and you're losing things left and right, and you're getting a little snippy with people, and you just can't, like, everything is going wrong, everything, that's when you have to get back and just, get back to center. And if that means that you, dismiss yourself for an hour or two and go and, in my case, like, I'll take a salt bath, go to bed early, get up early. If you're used to having that alone time, then make sure you get that alone time. It could be any number of things. It could be as simple as just recognizing it, and sitting on the couch and saying, wow, I must be feeling a little bit of this compassion fatigue. Maybe I just need to take a minute and breathe. my dogs get real hyper. Well, you guys know my dogs get hyper. Um, when I leave for any length of time, it could be 2 minutes, 2 hours. When I get back, they are all over the map, and I set all my bags and purse down or whatever, and the first thing I do is go get a treat, make them sit, and I make them take 4 deep breaths. And it could be as simple as just doing that to at least bring that compassion fatigue to your awareness. Because once you're aware of it, once you've turned the light on in that dark room, um, then you can consciously address it, deal with it, right? When you don't know what it is, when it's just happening and you're all over the map, you're in that fight, flight, or freeze mode, um, your pupils are very not dilated, right? You get a very narrow focus, and you don't see anything outside of what's right in front of you. And it can feel crippling, in some ways. It can feel, you can feel a little kind of crazy. Like, I just call it my bipolar moments. I'm not saying I am or I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I am. I've never been evaluated or diagnosed. But either way, it's being able to put that reason behind it that makes it, for me anyway, something that can be explained, that is not my I don't want to say it's not my, what is the word I want to say? It's not something I'm doing wrong, right? I'm not lazy. I'm not somebody who doesn't have any stamina. I'm not somebody who is just not wanting to, a procrastinator, right? I'm not just trying to procrastinate to not get things done. I know my limits. And when you know those limits, then it's okay to enforce them. I mean, those are our boundaries, right? When we're codependent, we don't always know how to set those boundaries. And those boundaries extend in so many different facets and so many layers. It's our energetic boundaries. When you go to the store, you got to remember to put that wall up, put that barrier up, because everybody's there with their energy, and it's all chaotic in the store and whatnot. And it can be challenging. I mean, I thank God for Instacart. Sorry, guys. It's okay, guys. It's just a bug zapper. We got a new bug zapper today. I don't think they like it. They're kind of funny though. I think Sadie got scared. Anyway, laughter actually. Now that I'm doing that, is I just felt my energy kind of calm a little bit. Laughter and singing, amazing ways to bring you back to center. It is Laughter it reminds me of that movie Monsters Inc., right? I think at the end of the movie they realized that by making the kids laugh, they got more energy out of the kids than they did by making them afraid. I mean, Disney literally told you right then and there how to fix your fear, right? Half of every movie we see is truth for the most part. But laughter is a great way to break that tension and bring you out of that fight or flight mode. And singing actually is good, because it's that tone, right? I would highly recommend Grateful Dead, the Beatles, or Bob Marley. They have kept their solfeggio tones at the tone of the earth, which a lot of musicians don't do anymore. So those three in particular, I noticed their music will keep my dogs very calm, and it can bring, you don't even know, like, it's not even that you're hearing the song, because your body's listening, right? Your body's energy is going to entrain to that music. So that can be really helpful. So if you can, I don't know, think of one or two things. What do they say when you're having an anxiety attack? Something you can see, touch, feel, hear, and say, right? And focus on those 5 things. Well, it's the same thing. I guess compassion fatigue could be compared to an anxiety attack, a mini panic attack in a way. It's still the same emotional response. You're still feeling unsafe. You're still feeling like you need to escape. You're right away looking for all the exits in the house or in the store or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I know this isn't really the same kind of video that we normally do with the words and the homophones and whatnot, but I really felt just because tonight I experienced it, and I hadn't experienced it in a while, and I didn't like it. Like, I didn't like who I was doing that, and that's not me. I'm not snippy. I'm not um, cranky. I'm not short tempered normally. So when I start to display those characteristics, it concerns me. And luckily, I brought myself back to center and thought, why is this? Why? Just why? And I remember, yeah, that's that compassion fatigue that we were talking about. I lost my keys today a couple times, lost my vape. I set the remote down, couldn't find it again. Those kind of things, and it can make you feel like you're nuts. And I'm here to tell you that you're not, and you're not alone. Happens to all of us, and we just got to remember to take some time and fill our cup back up, and it's okay. It's okay, and it's gonna happen again. We're human. We don't always want to admit our limits, and we just have to, forgive ourselves for pushing ourselves past that limit, and tell ourselves it's okay, and just correct it with compassion for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the compassion fatigue that you're feeling is because you don't have enough compassion for yourself. And it's time to put yourself first for a minute. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I really want you guys to think about that. I want you to think about how many times that you've just thought you were overtired or hungry or angry even, and it really wasn't that, and you really couldn't put your finger on it. Think about that. And the next time it happens to you, be easy on yourself. It's okay. It's going to happen. In today's day and age, I would suspect a lot of people go through this a lot of the time, and they may or may not know what it is. So if you know someone, fill them in on it too. Spread the word. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I am going to go take my salt bath and listen to some Grateful Dead. You guys have a wonderful night, and we will talk soon. Don't forget, grow your words and taste your language. Bye for now.